I've been a truck driver for a decade, working with various companies over the years. 3 years ago, I was employed by a warehouse in Kansas, handling shipments. I mostly drove a semi, which is what I was behind the wheel of on the evening of February 2nd. It was a chilly Monday and the week was just starting, meaning I had a lot of loads to deliver. I started driving at 3 p.m., hoping to reach my destination by that same night so I wouldn't have to pull over and sleep on the side of the road. I pushed the limits, driving about 5 miles per hour above the speed limit after midnight, fast for a semi. As the hours wore on, I was growing increasingly tired, but with the destination just under an hour away, I convinced myself I could keep going. My eyes were dry and it was becoming difficult to keep them open. I splashed some water on my face, which gave me a brief wake-up. The road was deserted at that hour and the only light came from my headlights, illuminating a stretch of dark road. Then I saw something ahead, a figure moving rapidly in the distance. At first I thought it was a trick of my tired eyes, but as I got closer, I realized it was a person standing almost in the middle of the road. I slammed on the brakes and the truck slowed almost to a stop. The figure was a man dressed in all black with a black scarf around his neck, and he had an unnaturally long neck, which struck me as odd. His face, though, was a blur, unrecognizable. I was about to roll down the window to offer help, but before I could, the man turned and darted off into the woods. I didn't think much of it in the moment, just pressed on the gas and continued driving. But about 20 seconds later, my heart started racing as I realized how strange the encounter had been. I tried to shake it off. A few minutes later, another odd event occurred. I saw something cross the road in front of me. It looked like a large animal at first, but as I got closer, it appeared to be another person. I didn't even hesitate this time. I kept driving, maybe even accelerating a little, hoping to get to my destination faster, the unease building in me. Soon I was struggling to keep my eyes open. I swerved into the other lane once or twice, realizing I was too tired to finish the drive safely. With about 40 minutes left, I found a small gravel pull-off on the side of the road. I parked, leaned back and tried to rest my eyes. I fell asleep, but not for long, less than an hour. I woke up suddenly, and something told me to turn on the headlights. I flicked the switch, and when the lights illuminated the area in front of the truck, I saw him again. The man in the black scarf, standing on the side of the road, staring directly at me. This time I could see his face more clearly. He had a wide, unsettling smile, and his eyes were open, unnaturally wide. I started the truck and quickly drove out of the clearing, my mind racing. How could he have walked 10 miles from where I last saw him? I didn't stop again until I reached my destination and fell asleep in the parking lot. The next morning I convinced myself it was just a hallucination brought on by exhaustion. But it still haunts me, the vividness of it all. Before I became a truck driver, I worked as a UPS driver for 2 years. It was good pay, but there were strange moments. One of the weirdest experiences happened in 2010. A couple of years after college. I was working the 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. shift in a small town in North Carolina. It was winter, so it got dark early. The town wasn't the greatest. Some areas had rows of houses, others had spaced-out trailers, and some blocks were completely desolate. By the time my shift was winding down, it was about 6 p.m. I was delivering a package to a trailer home on a street with sparse houses and thick woods on the other side. The house had no doorbell, so I knocked, hoping someone was home. After a while, an older woman answered the door. She seemed jittery, signing for the package with a sloppy signature. She then asked me to help her carry the heavy box inside. As soon as I stepped inside, I was hit with a terrible smell, like something rotting. She led me down a narrow hallway toward a back room, and when I reached the closet, I saw something that made my blood run cold. There was someone standing in the corner of the closet, clearly trying to hide. I couldn't explain it, but I knew there was a person there. I left the box where it was, walked out past the woman, and quickly said, "Have a nice day." She screamed for me to come back, calling me all sorts of names, but I had no intention of sticking around. I got back in my truck and finished my shift, but that encounter stayed with me. I didn't feel safe there, and I knew I wouldn't be going back to that area. I've been a trucker since I was 25, delivering goods all over the country. One night I had to drive across California, delivering a trailer full of furniture. It was a long, isolated drive through the desert. With the open roads and little traffic, I could push the truck faster than usual. As I cruised along, I noticed the flashing lights of a car in the distance. I slowed down, thinking someone needed help. When I pulled up behind the car, a dusty old Chevy Impala, I found it abandoned on the side of the road with its hazard lights on. I checked the car, but there was no one inside. I grabbed my flashlight from the truck, and upon shining it around, noticed an old, abandoned gas station nearby. I figured the car's driver must be inside, so I walked toward the building. The door was stuck open, and as I entered, I called out to let anyone know I was there. There was an eerie echo in the room, and I heard a strange sound like a shoe scraping against the floor. Then a deep, heavy whisper came from behind some shelves, followed by ragged breathing. I didn't wait around to find out more. I ran back to my truck, called 911, and tried to explain my location. While on the phone, I saw the car's lights flash on again, and it sped down the road. In a panic, I ran back to the gas station, flashlight in hand. What I found made my stomach drop, a pool of fresh blood on the floor. I told the 911 operator that I'd stumbled onto a crime scene and described everything I saw. State troopers arrived soon after, but by then the car was gone. There was no sign of a body, but the blood was enough to send chills down my spine. I'll never forget that night, and I installed a dash cam in my truck the very next week. That experience is something I'll carry with me forever.